The Evergreen Media Network Studio, powered by Scott Tree Services.
Treasure Coast Connector, connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras. Treasure Coast Connector is the talk show and online community where we put a spotlight on interesting local businesses and resources, then connect them to you, the consumers in the community. Everyone has an interesting story of why they do what they do. When we learn about what's happening in our own backyard and support local businesses, it strengthens our local economy. For details on the show, links to discounts, promos, past interviews, check out www.tcconnector.com. We work so hard to build a fabulous life for ourselves and our family, and often we spend a lot of time planning for wonderful vacations. But, how much time do we spend planning to protect our loved ones in the event that we pass? So joining me in the studio today is a local top attorney, and she has all the details to make sense out of wills and trusts and probate, things that are confusing for us. Yahima Suarez of Life Planning and Beyond. She has not only an office here in Fort Pierce on the Treasure Coast, but she has an office in Miami as well. She has a lot of great information to share with us. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ellen. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here, and I hope I didn't mess up your name. It's so pretty. I've never heard that name before. So pretty.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, okay. So now before we start talking about your law firm, right, and all that you do for your clients, what made you want to become an estate planning attorney?
Okay, that's a great question. I've been in practice for 18 years. And the first 8-9 years, I did a lot of family and immigration law. And I did a little bit of estate planning, but not as deep and, all the nuances of estate planning. Because people always think, oh, yeah, if I die, I have a will and I've done my estate plan. And that's not it. It's not all of it.
It's a small piece.
But I had a client came to my office one day, and she was receiving a $10,000 inheritance, something little. But she had just received the approval for disability benefits. She had been trying for like 4 to 5 years. And I called all the local people around me. This was down in Miami. Everyone that I found on the internet, I said they did estate planning, and they couldn't help her. They didn't know how. And when I asked about possible trust, they said it was complicated. And I did not get an answer. And at that point, I'm like, there has to be something more. And that was one step. And then probably like a year later, I have Daniela. And she was probably about 2 years old. And it's financial advisor, a friend of mine, comes to the office. And we're talking about everything I was doing for my clients. And he's like, what kind of plan do you have? And I'm like, I don't need a plan. You know me. I say, I don't need a plan. And he looked at me like, are you crazy? Are you the one telling me that? And I'm like, oh my goodness, I do need a plan. I have a small child. What happens if something happens to me? And it's not just dying, Ellen. Everybody thinks estate planning, for when I die. It's not really just for when you die, but if you're alive and there's an emergency, if there's a disability, even if it is 2 months in the hospital, who's going to take care of your children? Who's going to pay your bills? Who's going to take care of you? Who's going to make decisions for you? All that is estate planning too. So that was the beginning of my journey. And at some point, not long after that, I decided that this is what I wanted to do. And I concentrated my practice only on estate planning.
Yeah, I love that. And you've just brought on a hot flash for me. Thank you so much for that. Right. And I actually hope that a lot of people get a little nervous, and I want them to squirm in their seat because I want them to understand how important this is. And so the next question about wills, right? A lot of people say, yeah, I know. And but they really don't know.
No.
They think it's a simple document, or they even think, you know what, I'm going to be gone. Who cares? Is it really necessary? They don't understand what happens. So if someone comes to you and they have not put a will together, give me some steps of what you would do for your clients and why it's so important.
Ellen, one thing that I get recently a lot is people tell me if I don't have a will, the government's going to take over my stuff if I die. I always want to say that's not true. If you don't have a will, then the government has already decided who's going to receive your stuff.
Mm.
And sometimes it's not the person or the persons you want to receive what you have worked all your life for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have made a living, you have properties, you have something, and sometimes you have a little something that you want for that special person, but that special person may not be entitled to receive anything.
Mm.
Or sometimes you think that person is going to get it all, and they are not, because the law doesn't provide that way.
Wow.
Sometimes you want to protect your spouse, and your children has to have some rights to the properties. Sometimes you want to protect your children, but your spouse have right to the property.
Mm.
So if you want to make sure that the person you want is the person who's going to receive whatever it is that you have and you decide, then you have to put it in writing.
Yeah.
And the most simple step is a will.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a will does not avoid probate. People think probate, I have a will, I don't have to go to court. It's
Well,
just automatic.
I'm raising my hand because honestly, that's what I thought. I am so
No.
glad you're here today.
If you pass away and you have a house under your name, you're not here anymore. Who's going to sign the deed? There's nobody to sign the deed. The will only says, if I died, I want my property to be given to this person, and that's it. So you have to go through the court, through that process, and the judge is the only one that has the authority to actually transfer the property over to the beneficiaries. But if you want to protect those beneficiaries after you give that property to them, a will is not going to be enough.
So then
Unless
what?
you have a trust or some other type
Okay.
of planning.
Yeah.
So a will is very important, and it really helps a lot of people. Some people just need a will.
Mhm.
And I do get people coming and say, I want a trust,
Well,
and
look
they
at
don't need it.
that. Did you know that that's question number 3?
Oh, we'll
Of
get in
course.
there.
No, seriously. Oh my goodness. I actually did plan that pretty good, I guess, because you know what? There are a lot of trusts out there, all different types of trusts. And a lot of people think that is only for the wealthy, that the, maybe lower middle class people, none of them need trusts. But now, okay, can we make it cooler in the studio, Cindy? Because now I do have a hot flash, right? That is a little scary to think, because honestly,
Yeah,
truly, I
I
thought
know.
wills, you're good. So now explain trusts, and since there is a myriad of trusts out there, how do you help your clients figure out the type of trust they need or don't need?
Okay. There's a lot of ways to do planning. There are a lot of different types of trust, but mostly what we normally would do is a revocable living trust is what most people would have. They're irrevocable trusts. That means that they cannot be changed, and they're used in some instances, but mostly most everybody would probably go into a revocable living trust. And a trust it works like a company, but it's not a company, and it actually holds your property. If you have a house, if you have bank accounts, everything, you put it on the name of a trust. And that trust, when you create it, you're the grantor. I say that you're the creator. You are the trustee, so you administer, you manage your trust, and then you're the beneficiary for as long as you're alive.
Okay.
So you do with your trust whatever you want. It's the same thing as having your everything under your name right now. It's just going to be under the name of the trust, and you have all the right to do anything, to change it, to change the beneficiaries, or do whatever you want with it. The benefit of it is if at any point you're incapacitated, you decide who continues to handle who continues to manage everything you have inside that trust.
Okay.
Because in reality, a trust is a set of instructions, and they have to manage those things in the way that you decided and you put in writing.
Yeah.
So they cannot just do whatever they want. And then when you pass away, you decide who gets what, how, and you decide how they can manage their things. You can put protections. You have minor children, you decide who's going to continue to manage that for them. Okay. Otherwise, you would end up with a guardianship in court. Because minors cannot receive more than $15,000 in the state of Florida as an inheritance without a guardian.
Okay.
But if they're in trust, you decide, well, maybe dad or the mom or whoever is going to actually continue to raise the kids, they can raise the kids, but they don't have to be the ones who are going to manage their money. So you actually have a protection in there. And when you have adult children, sometimes you have an 18-year-old. That's an adult. Yeah. What happens if you leave them $500,000? Because any house right now is $500,000.
Yeah, they're going to party. Yeah.
They may have it tomorrow. They may not. So you can set protections for them. And when you leave it in trust for them, it's going to be an irrevocable trust. You already have the terms set for them. And either they have to file for bankruptcy, maybe they go into business and doesn't go well. If they get sued for any reason, they get into a car accident, or they get a divorce, nobody can take the money away from them, the money that you left for them in trust.
Okay.
So you can actually set protections for them. And that is something you cannot do in a will unless you create a trust afterwards. And that's double the work.
Okay. All right. But so it's not necessarily daunting and confusing because you're guiding them. Oh, Cindy, don't worry. She's going to make me take a break now.
Okay.
But what I want you to do is give the phone number for both of your offices, your Fort Pierce and your Miami office numbers.
Okay. Here in Fort Pierce, our number is 772-405-1984. And the number for the office in Miami is 305-456-7158. Either number works, and we're going to help you regardless.
Very good. And then the website is lifeplanningandbeyond.com. And with that, we're going to take a break. We have a lot more to discuss. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Big news, Treasure Coast. Your favorite mortgage team just got even better. Introducing the same trusted faces you know and love, now with Union Home Mortgage.
Hi, this is Shannon Pohl.
Hi, this is Lucy Cranker.
And these high-producing team members bring decades of experience, unwavering honesty, and hearts of gold to every home loan. And here's the best part. Same local processing, underwriting, and appraisers you rely on. Contact Union Home Mortgage.
Visit us online at shannonpohl.com
and lucycranker.com.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats and chairs in all the latest styles and colors from Tommy Bahama, Lexington, Hooker, Riverside, Universal, Four Seasons, Braxton Color, and Capri. We're the outdoor furniture experts and have hundreds of styles of any patio furniture you need, including a gallery of Berlin Gardens and Bollywood. We specialize in fire pits, outdoor rugs, umbrellas, and replacement cushions. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in the Publix Plaza, Vero Beach. Family owned and operated since 1991. Don't forget to visit our outlet store directly across the street, filled with lots of name brand closeouts and sale items. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Have a sunshine day. Sunshine.
Wounded Waters is hosting its second annual Offshore War Fishing Tournament on May 25th at Causeway Cove Marina in Fort Pierce. There'll be cash prizes, side pots, and the first 100 boats get a free bucket. The Wounded Waters Offshore War will also be hosting a Kids Land tournament that morning. Join us at the Wounded Waters Fishing Tournament May 25th at Causeway Cove Marina, Fort Pierce. Register now at woundedwaters.org. Discounts for veterans and first responders. Visit woundedwaters.org.
Welcome back to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras, and I've been speaking with Yahima Suarez of Life Planning and Beyond, all about estate, trust, wills, and oh my goodness, the things that I didn't realize I didn't know. So I'm very happy that you're here. So what I'd like to do at the beginning of the second half is I want to turn the spotlight again, literally on you, not necessarily the services, but walk us through the process of when someone calls you and reaches out. What are the steps that you take to start working with someone so that people that are listening and watching can understand what to expect on how you handle things?
Ellen, definitely you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know a lot about estate planning, and I was an attorney, and I thought I knew a lot about estate planning. And when I started learning, I was like, gosh, I knew nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So my main purpose is for my client to be informed. We do a consultation. I do charge for a consultation. It's not a big fee, but I provide all the information my client may need. And for that, I need to know their specific situation, because every family is different.
Sure.
And they want different things. Sometimes I had a client with millions of dollars, and that's probably the easiest plan I have done, because he didn't have anybody. He was going to leave all to charity. That was very easy.
Okay.
And then I have parents that have kids. They have parents that they need to care for. They have a house of a parent that lives in the house. They want to make sure that parent is protected until they pass away.
Yeah.
And then they have the kids. And then they have a lot going on, and they want a lot of things put into place. So I need to know really what really bothers them, what worries them, and then I provide the solutions. So I give them a range of solutions and say, well, these are the options, and they can be as simple as they want it, or as complicated or as, detailed as they need it.
Yeah.
So for that, I do a consultation. I sit with the client. It may be 20 minutes. It could be an hour and a half. It could be 2 hours. Sometimes we talk about other things too, the dog and the cats and the cars. But, it's part of me. I want to know my client because I need to give the client what they need. And I need the client to feel comfortable enough that they can tell me all they have, all they have in their head, what they're worried about. So I can find the solutions. And then we put a plan together that works for them.
Okay. Yeah.
So it is very personalized.
I like that. That makes a lot of sense. You have a blog that I think is amazing.
Oh, thank you. Working on it.
Full, I know. And what I love is that it is full of information so that even before someone meets with you, right? They've called, they've set up that appointment, but now they can go to the blog, and it's almost like you're pre-educating them before they even get into to see you. So talk a little bit about, the blog.
Well, the blog I have, I restarted it not that long ago. I had to reset that website and restart. There's a lot that I've been adding on. And the last subject I've been working on the blog is how to protect your children if something happens to you. I have a little one. I have a minor. And when they're minors, there are very specific things that sometimes we don't think about. The trust takes care of the money, but who takes care of your child? There's two different things. Custody of the child and taking care of the money is totally two different things. You can have that person handling the trust, and you have the check and balances, and then you can have that person taking care of the kids. But who really has the right to really raise your children if something happens to you? Dad, if you're a woman and you're married and you have a dad has the right to continue to raise the kids. Sometimes dad is not the right person to do that. Okay. And if that's not going to happen, who's gonna take over? Or what happens if mom and dad are not here anymore? Right. Or they're both incapacitated, because it happens, unfortunately.
Yeah, God forbid an accident or something. You usually
have grandma here and grandma here, and they both want the kids.
Oh, yeah.
So they have the same standing in front of a judge. So do you want this grandma or that grandma? Or do you want none of them? You may want your little sister who's traveling the world to take care of your kids. And she would have stopped the whole world for your child. Yeah. But she's not married. She doesn't have any kids. So you need to put it in writing. You need to say, well, this is the person I want, and these are the reasons why I want it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to make sure that they know about your child. They know what to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're alive, it's a little different. You're alive, we usually do like a power of attorney and a healthcare power that authorizes that person to actually go into a hospital and take care of your child, make decisions.
Okay.
If you pass away, then you're going to have a set of documents that you can present to the judge in a family court and say, the parents wanted me to be the guardian of the child, or be, actually take custody.
The custodial,
It's a little different from guardianship, but that person would have, it's like they would have your blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And the judge, most likely, unless there's something very wrong with that person, is going to follow your wishes, and your kids are going to be raised by the people you really care about.
Mm-hmm.
And that they're going to do what you would have done for them.
Yeah.
Because it's just scary sometimes, they get raised, maybe they want to be an artist, or they're painters, or something different. And they don't have to be a lawyer like I am.
Mm-hmm.
Mine doesn't want to be a lawyer.
Okay.
Maybe in the future she changes her mind, but maybe.
Yeah. We're glancing over because she's on the other side of the studio right now.
But do you have to give them the opportunity? But would you have given that opportunity? You need to make sure that the person who's stepping on your shoes knows that you would allow it.
Yeah.
And that you would support it.
Mm-hmm.
And but the most important part is who's going to raise them.
Yeah.
To be the person you want it to be.
I think this is a perfect opportunity for the second half to give your phone numbers again for the people that are listening on iHeartRadio and the podcasts. So the Fort Pierce, Miami office and your website, please.
Okay. The phone number for the Fort Pierce office is 772-405-1984. And the office in Miami is 305-456-7158. And the website is Life Planning and Beyond, because we do plan for life, for when you're alive, and for beyond too.
Yeah, that's why I like
both aspects are very, very important.
Yeah, Life Planning and Beyond. I thought that was a very clever web address. And then you mentioned too about like complicated family situations, because I'm sure that maybe you have set things up, and then as the years pass, maybe people get divorced and remarried, more kids come into the situation. So we have about a minute and a half. What would you like to say about that situation?
Ellen, it gets even more complicated. We wouldn't have enough time to go over it in a such a short period of time. But yeah, people do remarry, and I do have a case that came in this week. The person thought that since he had a will done 10 years before he got married, that his children were going to get his house. And that's not going to be the case, because the wife has the right to live in the house for as long as she wants, or until she dies, or she has the right to have the property. And that he was not contemplating when he did that will. So you get married again, you should update your estate plan.
Yeah. Okay.
For sure. And don't forget, planning is done yesterday. Today is already almost late. Tomorrow may be late.
Yeah.
So that's why planning is so important. And when you become incapacitated, you lose your ability to manage your own self, then that's late. You cannot do a power of attorney or a healthcare power.
Because you can't communicate your wishes.
So now is the time.
All right. So do you understand this? Now is the time to call or go to lifeplanningandbeyond.com. Thank you so much for being here. Me. Oh my goodness, because I'm already sweating, and I know when I get home, my husband who watches the show is going to be like, I want to talk to her. He's Venezuelan, you're Cuban. He's already feeling a bond. I just know that. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. Oh, and I do speak Spanish myself.
Oh, yes, of course. So that's a good thing for everyone to know. My name is Ellen Contreras. I am the host of Treasure Coast Connector. I hope that everyone has a safe, productive, wonderful week. Call Yahima Suarez, lifeplanningandbeyond.com. Stay safe until next week. I miss you already.